In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, may the peace and blessings of Allah, the Exalted, be upon the Prophet Muhammad and his purified progeny, and may the damnation of Allah be upon their enemies. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our 16th episode. In the last episodes, we discussed the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam relating to how we should act towards the Ghulat. And Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he warned us about the Ghulat and how they can corrupt our youth. So we analysed some of these narrations and we concluded that one's conduct should not be lenient towards the Ghulat, otherwise they can spread their deviant ideology among the Shia. And of course this series, if we just speak quickly about the series, the topic of Ghulu and exaggeration, it has many aspects to it, and there are many different ahadith and clips that one can show pertaining to this topic. Therefore, we are continuing the series, inshallah ta'ala, and we will deal with various topics which relate to Ghulu and this whole discussion. But in these next few episodes, inshallah ta'ala, I want to show some clips of some Shia scholars discussing the Ghulat and the extremists, and how the Shia should also act towards them and what our stance is towards the Ghulat. Now, what I will touch on is the topic of eulogy reciters. Now, in Farsi, people call these someone who is a radud as a madda. In Arabic, they say radud or rawadid, the plural. And these people are quite influential in the Shia society, because they recite during Muharram, after the majlis, after the speech which is given, and they say the story and the events which occurred at Karbala and revive the matter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Now, one of the tricks of the Ghulat, the extremists and the exaggerators, is for them to try and infiltrate prominent positions within the Shia community so that they may spread their influence and deviant ideology. And we cannot deny that many of these raduds have actually done a good job in reviving the culture and message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And many of them have eulogies which have been listened to by millions. But there is no doubt that, unfortunately, the Ghulat have also infiltrated this scene of eulogy reciters, and some of the worst shirk, the worst polytheistic statements and kufr that we can find, unfortunately come from some of these people who refer to themselves as maddas or rududs. Now, I want to just show a clip which I came across online as an example for all the viewers of these shirk type of statements which have come into our gatherings. And unfortunately, when someone who is in a position as being a radud says these types of things, it can cause the deviant ideology to spread and for people to become polytheist in their beliefs. Because of course, as we said, it's bad enough when people who wear turbans and who are clerics utter kufr and they utter statements which have no basis within the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. That is one thing. But then it's another thing for raduds, people who are looked up to by many of the youth, to utter kufr. So let us see this following clip and then we will comment.
دیگه چی؟ من تو صدر ذات خدا علی خدا خدا علی علی خدا خدا علی علی خدا.
Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters. So in this following clip we saw shocking shirk, polytheism, shocking kufr being uttered by this stupid person in the clip, by this mushrik in the clip. There is no excuse for anyone who claims to be Shi'i to utter such statements. And this is the kind of stuff which is being said in some gatherings. Now the person said, and this is me quoting kufr from the person, Ali Khuda, Khuda Ali. We seek refuge in such statements. That Ali is God and God is Ali. This is a direct exposure of this person's beliefs of Ghulu. Now, what are the reasons for such statements? We can say firstly, it is a lack of education in the true Muhammadan beliefs. Because anyone can become a radud. I myself, or anyone tomorrow, can write down a few lines and become a radud. Anyone can become a eulogy reciter. There's no particular qualification for this. Yes, it doesn't mean that everyone will become a good eulogy reciter. There are many who may try to become eulogy reciters and they are not very popular or they don't become well known. And we see that there are some who have pure intentions and there are some who do it for the sake of dunya, who do it to become famous, or they become eulogy reciters because it's the closest thing to becoming a musician. But because of the kind of families they're from, they realize, okay, I can't become a musician, I can't become a singer, let's become a radud. So just like you find some clerics who have bad intentions, they do it for money, or they do it for fame, you also find this amongst raduds. And as I said, it doesn't require any qualification to become a radud. Anyone can come out tomorrow, they can practice, write a few lines, and maybe they'll become popular or unpopular. But they can just call themselves a eulogy reciter, get their videos on YouTube played on a few channels, and all of a sudden he's become a famous radud in the Shia community. So obviously it's a lack of education. Just because someone is reciting poetry or religious eulogies for Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam or Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it doesn't automatically mean that they have religious knowledge or that they are qualified. If you question many of them about the usul ad-din, if you question them about Tawhid, Nabuwa, Imama, or for example the history of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, they would not know much. So one shouldn't be fooled by this, that okay, just because someone's a eulogy reciter automatically means they are someone of knowledge and someone for us to take our religion from. So this is an important point. Again, dear brothers and sisters, we do not take our aqidah or beliefs from people who recite eulogies. And this is a problem which some Shias have fallen into, where they've put too much emphasis on eulogy reciters, or they listen to eulogies but then they don't gain knowledge in their religion. There should be a balance here. There's nothing wrong with listening to eulogies. I myself do, and some of them are beautiful and really give us that intense emotion for Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. But you don't take your aqidah, your beliefs from such people. So we saw this person in the clip who we would deem as a kafir, we would deem him as a mushrik, a murtad. But let us see what the Shia scholars would say about such a person. And of course, the next individual in the clip, Sayyid Qazwini, he is someone known for debating the Nawasib, engaging in debates with some of the so-called Ahlul Sunnah. I do not necessarily endorse all of his views, or I'm not promoting him per se. I'm just presenting this clip to show what he is saying about the Shia scholars' attitude towards people who utter ghulu. And what he's saying would also apply, let's say, to anyone who wears a turban, which would utter straight up kufr. So let us see this clip of him saying the Shia opinion of those who are eulogy reciters and who utter ghulu and extremism.
این مداهایی که میان اینطور کفریات میگن، اینها کافر و مرتد هستند. اینها را مراجع ما کفر میدانند، ما اینها را کفر میدانیم. ما مداهایی که اینطور حرفهای کفرآمیز میزنن مداح اهل بیت نمیدانیم، اینا را مداح شیطان میدانیم. بعضی از مداحها هستن اگر خود پیغمبرم بیاد بگه آقا این کفر هست، میگه نه من قبول ندارم حرف تو را. خود امام حسین هم بیاد بگه کفر، قبول ندارن. اینها را ما به هیچ وجه مداح اهل بیت ما نمیدانیم، اینها را ما نجس میدانیم. اگر یک لیوانی دست بزنن، استکانی دست بزنن، این رو من دارم از شبکه ولایت، یک شبکه حوزه زیر نظر مرجعیت شیعه به تمام دنیا اعلام میکنم، به تمام دنیا اعلام میکنم ما اینها را کافر میدانیم، نجس میدانیم، مرتد میدانیم، واجب القتل میدانیم و تمام اموالشون هم در حال حیاتشون بین وراسشون باید تقسیم بشه. اگر هم بمیرن نه نماز برای اینا خوانده میشه و نه در قبرستان مسلمان ها اینها را دفن میکنن. این حکم برای شما کنم یک غالی و غلات هست. آقایان برای دیدن این قضایا میتونن به جواهر مراجعه کنن. مرحوم صاحب عروه سید یزدی در عروه مفصل اینها رو مطرح کرده که اگر نیاز باشه ما سر فرصت باز این مباحث رو انشاءالله مطرح میکنیم.
Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters. So we saw in the clip that according to the Shia scholars' opinions, the one who utters kufr and these types of statements as it was seen are eulogists of shaitan, not eulogists of the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. And uttering such statements would make them disbelievers. Uttering such statements would make them apostates. They have apostatized from the religion by uttering such kufr. So this is our stance towards these people who are ghulat. And if one refers back, as he mentioned, Urwatul Wuthqa and the books of jurisprudence, one will clearly find that these people, they're not considered Muslims. One cannot do ghusl for such people, the ghusl al-mayyit, when they die, and one would not be able to do the ghusl for such people, the washing of the deceased. One would not be able to bury such people in a Muslim graveyard. If someone comes and says that any of the Imams are Allah Azza wa Jal, and they put them up to the status of divine lordship, such people are kuffar. We have to make takfir on them. But there's a problem within the Shia community that we haven't made enough takfir. One needs to be balanced, of course. One should not make takfir just here and there, like the Wahhabis done, like the Salafi have done. But if one is too lenient and they make excuses for such people, then this stuff will spread, because people will see that, oh, well, look, I'm still considered one who is an exaggerator. He can go into the Shia community and nothing will be said to him, and he can spread this type of kufr. And these people who are eulogists, it's not just Iran they're found in Pakistan, they're found in Iraq, they're found in various different areas. It's not something new. Rather, the Imams alayhim as-salam warned us about such people. They warned us about them in their narrations, and they told us how to act with such people. It was not just within their time that the Ghulat were present, rather it's also in this time that the Ghulat are present, just maybe in a new type of image or style. So as Qazwini said in the clip, that these people are murtad, and they even considered as ritually impure, meaning if one of them would touch glass with moisture on their hand, you would have to wash the glass. These people are considered najis. And furthermore, if one, this is not obviously the place to talk about advanced jurisprudence, but if one refers back to the books of jurisprudence, they would realize that such people, they have severe consequences for uttering such extremism. And this is a reality according to what the Shia ulema say of Ghulat. So what we've done is we've shown a clip of one person who is from these extreme eulogists saying that Imam Ali alayhi salam is God, and we seek refuge in such a statement. We have shown the Shia opinion. We have shown the scholarly opinion, which all the jurists of the Shia would agree with, that these people who say such statements are not eulogists of Ahlul Bayt, rather they are eulogists of shaitan, and such people are apostates of the religion, and they are not regarded as Shia. So we've shown these two clips. But one may ask now, is any of the scholars, so that was a general statement about these people, are there any specific examples we can also give where Shia ulama have condemned such people? Because many of these clips are not in English, and inshallah ta'ala on this channel we bring you exclusive content to give you examples of how this stuff is condemned, as it contradicts the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. And this is important for anyone, of course, to learn the correct doctrine themselves, so that when someone says some type of kufr or ghulu, they will be able to distinguish what is the haqq, what is the truth, and what is batil. Now let's see the following clip of an individual by the name of Reza Qasab being shown. Now this person, Reza Qasab, he has a big hayat, so a big type of organization in Kashan, or let's say gathering, where they arrange gatherings, and he is someone of influence amongst that type of community that they do azadari. So he is known, and unfortunately he's associated with these people who were seen in Karbala putting dog collars on their necks and barking like dogs. So he was associated with these type of people, and he is known. And let us see now how he utters statements of kufr, and what one of the people said about this, or what one of the scholars said about such statements.
یعنی یه قدرتی رو بر خدا قائلی بی حد، بر علی مرتضی یه قدرت بی حد قائلی. میگوی آره خدا تو بی حدیه، علی مرتضی تو بی حدیه. یه استغفرالله، یه جاهای علی مرتضی حد داره. هر جا علی حد داره باید خدام حد داشته باشه.
شدم در مجلس امام حسین دارن اصل اصول شیعه یعنی توحید رو دارن زیر سوال میبرن. یک عده خدمتتون عرض کنم بی سواد مکلف رو مداح نما میان مجلس دار میشن و داد میزنن، فریاد میزنن اگر خدا حد نداره پس علی هم حد نداره. بابا تو اصلا معنی کلمه حد رو میدونی که خدا حد نداره یعنی چی؟ بعد میای همون رو به امیرالمومنین تطبیق میدی. خب اینا کفرگوییه واضحه، با روایات ما در تضاده. کم روایت بخونین، کم درس بخونید، بعد اگر علما میخوان اینا رو اصلاح کنن میان در صفحاتشون فحشای رکیک میدن، حرفای.
So dear brothers and sisters, as we saw this individual Reza Qasab, and by the way you can see him in many videos, he's always at the front while the eulogist is reciting and people are beating their chests, so he's easily recognizable. We see him utter kufr in this clip and utter incorrect beliefs of aqidah, where he says that if Imam Ali alayhi salam has a limit, then God also must have a limit. What kind of nonsense and rubbish is such a person uttering? And this is a problem that people, as the Sayyid in the clip said, bi savad, people that don't have any religious education, come in influential positions and people make their status higher. So such a person who is a leader of this hayat, who is saying, you know, if you want to say Imam Ali alayhi salam has a limit, then God has a limit. People like this should be shunned. They shouldn't be put in any positions of authority. But that's what I'm saying. People who make their types of organizations or hayats can do this any day of the week that they want. They can just make this tomorrow, and either they'll become influential or they'll become non-influential. So such a person was saying things which make no sense. And as the Sayyid mentioned in this clip, do you even know what the meaning of had is when we apply this to Allah Azza wa Jal? And when we say this to the human beings? All human beings have a limit. Imam Ali alayhi salam was limited. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa is limited. Every single creation is limited in some way or another. I'm limited with my body. I'm limited in my knowledge, in my strength, in my weakness. In every single place I'm limited. Yes, some human beings have better capabilities than others. For example, someone may be able to stand and run, and then another person, he is disabled or he is impaired and he does not have the correct mobility, or he's not able to walk, let's say. So yes, there's strengths and weaknesses which may differ according to each creation or each person. But every type of creation is limited. But then to say that, okay, if Imam Ali alayhi salam is limited, then Khuda, Allah must be limited, is complete nonsense that this person is saying. So this is what we're trying to show, dear brothers and sisters, that just because someone is in a well-known position of organizing, let's say, matam, or where people recite eulogies or beat their chests, it doesn't mean we should give them any significance. And as this Sayyid said, that unfortunately when some of the ulema actually condemn stuff like this, these ignorants who follow these people start to make problems and insult the ulama for this. So we'll show how such a statement contradicts the ahadith. As we know that Imam alayhi salam said that Allah is kharij min al-haddain. Allah is out of the two limitations. And we know that Imam Ali alayhi salam, for example, in Kitab al-Tawhid by Shaykh Saduq in chapter 2, hadith 3, Imam Ali alayhi salam said what? And this is an extract from a longer hadith. And verily, everything came into existence because of him, meaning Allah. He has no attribute which can be comprehended. So even when we discuss the sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, our imagination cannot comprehend this. Because yes, the faculty of imagination is very strong, yet Allah Azza wa Jal cannot be even comprehended within our faculty of imagination or even with our intellect. Yes, we can know with our intellect that there is a creator. He has no attribute which can be comprehended, nor has he any limit, any had which can be established. Exalted be he who is not subject to time, length, or what? Limit. So Imam Ali alayhi salam clearly refutes this false type of aqidah, which, by the way, this is the first time I've heard this. I've never heard anyone say this type of statement, which was probably just said out of emotion and wanting attention. But it completely contradicts the narrations, as the Sayyid was saying in this clip. And alhamdulillah, this Sayyid, who is from Wilayat TV and the Farsi channel, and he also debates with Nawasib and refutes Nawasib, he called this type of nonsense out. Because this type of nonsense is being spread in these gatherings, where these jahil people with no formal type of religious education are spreading these wrong type of beliefs which contradict Shia Islam. So it is upon us, dear brothers and sisters, to call this stuff out. And alhamdulillah, there are ulema speaking against this type of nonsense. So dear brothers and sisters, join me in the next episode where we will show further clips of the stance of the Shia scholars towards the Ghulat. And this episode was just to show an example of extremism which has been promoted in majalis by these jahil extreme Ghulat raduds, such as saying that Imam Ali alayhi salam is Allah, or saying that, for example, if Ali is limited, then Khuda must be limited. We showed how such statements would take someone out the fold of Shia Islam according to the scholars. And in the next episode we will read some quotes and also show a clip of this being condemned, because one reason also is due to Sufi influence, which has mixed with some Shias, and due to this Sufi influence they are mixing Sufi beliefs with Shia beliefs, and then that's where some of these statements come from. So join me for the next episode where we will further elaborate on these issues. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum wa la'ana a'da'ahum.